On IMTS Network today, we'll hear a story about an Illinois manufacturer who transformed her father's job shop into a thriving manufacturing business. We'll look at our new IMTS Network series, Outside the Shop, which focuses on people who develop manufacturing ideas in non-traditional ways. We'll meet some Wisconsinites who make powerful snowplows that allow airplanes to take off and land in extreme winter weather. We'll see how water jet technology cuts at the speed of sound to make bicycle sprockets. And we'll go for a ride on the IMTS hot air balloon during the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And we'll also talk with an owner of an advanced manufacturing business in Ohio who, when faced with labor shortages, decided to grow his own pipeline of local talent. Good morning and welcome to the IMTS Network live stream event. From 10:09 this morning to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be broadcasting right here from Washington, D.C. at our AMT headquarters. I'm Peter Eelman.
And I'm Jules McGuire.
Well, and today, in addition to being a really exciting day for the IMTS Network live stream event, it is quite a day here in the Washington, D.C. area, because last night our Washington Nationals brought it home, and we're headed for the World Series for the first time since 1933, which I don't remember. Jules doesn't remember.
Not quite.
But I think we have a pretty good outlook here. We've got a lot of excited people. It's also raining outside, which it hasn't happened in a long time. But it wasn't raining last night as the Washington Nationals brought it home to a very excited local populace here in the D.C. area. We are looking forward to a World Series next week, beginning the end of next week and middle of next week. So you have a lot of excited people that are going to be on the IMTS Network today.
It's a big day.
It really is. It really is. But you know what? What is IMTS Network? That's where we're going to get started. First off, our crew that you're going to see today, we're the crew that produces IMTS, the International Manufacturing Technology Show, obviously the largest advanced manufacturing event in the Western Hemisphere. It's a 6-day show, as you know, takes place in September in the even-numbered year, but you're seeing us now in the odd-numbered year. So, Jules, why are we doing this?
Well, we were thinking that why celebrate our awesome industry once every 2 years? With today's technology, we can absolutely celebrate our industry every day and broadcast all about the people and events that make our manufacturing industry unique. And so why don't you tell us a little about where this concept began?
Well, Jules, believe it or not, we began the IMTS Network. The germ of the idea came with a concept we called IMTS TV. IMTS TV was born in 2008, and it was, to say the least, a little bit humble. We had an employee that used to work with us that said, I think I can do this. Diana Hersig, one of the founders of the whole idea. We walked outside of the old AMT building and tried to decide whether we needed to be in the sun or in the shade and who should be on camera. We really started rough. But after that, we've ended up growing IMTS TV. We grew IMTS TV to where it is a full-time broadcast days during the IMTS show. And as time has gone on, we've come a long way from that one camera. In fact, we've got more crew members here today than we had that opening day, but we certainly have some of the same crew members that you saw on IMTS TV. So we've got some experience and we're going to try something new with the network. Yeah.
The new idea that we have that we're really working towards is having the IMTS Network really feature the intersection between humans and manufacturing. And we're really looking forward to telling the amazing stories in this industry. And so far, we've been working this year and we've gotten some really great stories under our belt, and that's what we're looking at today.
You know, IMTS Network is really new media, and it's something that we feel is a place for us in the industry throughout the year. when we were talking about what would this be, we really started thinking, well, it's like Netflix. Think about Netflix. Netflix is a channel. They sometimes produce their own broadcast. They produce their own series. They produce their own information networks. But they also have movies. They have television shows. They have live events. They have a whole variety of channels that are together on Netflix. In our view, as we introduce the IMTS network, which will be early next year, is that the network will be an aggregator of all things innovation and manufacturing. We'll be producing our own content, as you can see today. We'll also be doing a lot of individual stories. We'll go on site, but we'll also have channels of high quality producers that we've already made some relationships with, that they, in their own right, appeal to specific areas, but with IMTS Network, they'll go into the broad. We've got some exciting partners already today.
Right, yes. Later today, you'll see a segment from the Discovery Channel. They're working on a program called Manufacture Your Future, where they provide education resources to classrooms, and they also have a video component where they do a virtual field trip, if you will. And so we'll have that segment later today. We also have some content from a new web series called MFG Tribe, and that is a really great tour of shop floor, manufacturing facilities, and just really opens up the doors and lets people see inside.
Well, we have a whole crew put together. We have an IMTS Network team. You're going to meet the folks in a few minutes, but to start with, Jules is new to our team in exhibitions, and she came from the other side of the world in a lot of ways. Jules, I brought you in because you had done some work with IMTS TV, and I said, "Wow, this she's got it. She's got the it factor.
I'm a keeper.
She's
Good.
a keeper.
That's
so
good to hear.
So she's on board, but she came from a very different background, which I think our visitors, our viewers, would love to hear from. Where did Jules come from?
Where did I come from? I was a public school teacher in Little Rock, Arkansas, of all places, and I loved education. And then I moved to the DC area for love. And I decided to step outside of the classroom and develop curriculum. And with a small nonprofit in, go figure, soil science. I know that's really random, but students need to learn about soil. And so I would develop curriculum with the Discovery Channel. And so that's sort of my foray into video production, was I got to go on these live shoots. So you sort of see how it comes full circle, and now I'm here.
Well, the value of your soil may be that we have these beautiful hedges.
That's right.
Behind
I've
us.
been taking care of them.
Wonderful plastic hedges that we have behind us. But the network itself is based from AMT. AMT is the Association for Manufacturing Technology, the organization that owns and produces the IMTS show, and thankfully employs myself and Jules and a whole host of technology-driven folks who bring to the industry, who bring to our members the best of manufacturing technology. For decades, AMT and IMTS have been at the center of advanced manufacturing. From the latest technology trends and government initiatives to economic forecasts, market forecasts, AMT offers manufacturers the information, insight, and interaction that they need to be competitive. We serve as a hub to connect industry leaders, government officials, and academia to advanced manufacturing in America. In fact, hub is a really great word. When we were starting to talk about, hey, where do we take IMTS TV? Hub was a word that kept coming up, and hub drove us to the network. We want to be a hub for manufacturers, just as AMT is a hub for all things manufacturing. In fact, AMT's president, Doug Woods, spearheads our organization. He is laser focused on the advancement of digital manufacturing. In fact, when you start to see our advertising and marketing for IMTS 2020, you're going to see our theme is digital manufacturing implemented. It is part of our DNA here at AMT. It is the theme of IMTS. It's the theme of everything we do here at AMT. And since Doug served on the board of the AMT prior to his appointment as president. He has been involved in the development of MT Connect from its very founding. MT Connect, by the way, is the industry standard for machine connectivity, and MT Connect Institute is a subsidiary of AMT. And actually, today, we don't have our full complement of folks here because we're on the same day as a Board of Trustees meeting for the future of MT Connect, and that's being held in Tennessee. To learn more about MT Connect, you will want to visit mtconnect.org. That will give you all the information you need to know about MT Connect. But the heart of AMT is its members. More than 600 manufacturers, distributors, and industry partners are the backbone of innovation and high technology. From multinational corporations to family-owned businesses, AMT members are behind virtually everything that we use every single day. And you'll want to learn more about our members and what they do, and the best place to start there is to visit our website as an association, amtonline.org.
Manufacturing is definitely a dynamic and vibrant and essential base of our U.S. economy. And manufacturers fabricate valuable creations and life-saving heart valves and complex sensors, even autonomous vehicles.
And yet so much of our population in the United States doesn't really have an understanding of all that manufacturing is. From the progressive technology to its highly skilled workforce, advanced manufacturing environments are often sleek and futuristic, and that all speaks to why we need the IMTS network. Why did we put this together? We're anxious to tell our stories, and our stories involve human element behind everything. We have a lot of stories to tell. We really do. And Jules is going to share a little bit about some of the episodes that we're going to see today in our live stream event.
Yes, today you'll see a variety of series from Profiles in Manufacturing to a series called Outside the Shop, which talks about non-traditional uses of manufacturing technology. We're also going to take a look at the Tech Peek series, which has emerging technology told in a really engaging way. So we're really looking forward to that and showing you a sneak preview, and there's more to come in 2020. The IMTS Network chronicles awe-inspiring events. It chronicles pivotal relationships, and it also features emerging technology. And all of this comes together to show how great our industry is. Today, we are starting off with just a sample of IMTS Network stories. From a young woman who transformed her father's job shop to a STEM student who 3D printed his own prosthetic leg. And so there's some really exciting stories to tell. And we've got some other great features like a fireside chat about additive technology later. And then we're also going to talk about AMT's education efforts. So there's some really good stuff going on. And I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you, if you have a manufacturing story, please email us at stories@imts.com. And that's the best way to tell your manufacturing story, and we will be in touch.
Well, you can see how enthusiastic we are and how much fun we've already had in discovering a bit of the human side of manufacturing. And so let's get started. Next up, we're going to see how one young manufacturer encountered the challenge of a lifetime. In fact, a challenge of a career as well. Her story is an incredible story of perseverance and success. Let's enjoy this first Profile in Manufacturing and meet Nicole Wolter.
I stormed into my dad's office and I said, you need to look at this and I need to tell you what's going on. Everybody that is pretty much out in your shop at this time is your competitor.
In 2008, we had a rough time because the economy started to collapse.
A wave of panic on Wall Street.
When I joined in 2009, things weren't easy. We were definitely going through a recession. It was hard times. I started to see that we were really down in the red line. Things were getting very scary. I'm losing customers left and right. I kept hearing this competitor's name pop up. I decided to hire a private investigator. It just didn't add up. HM Manufacturing began in 1979 when my father decided he wanted to do something other than F1 race. That's what he used to do. He saw a need to tinker and explore.
When I was driving Formula cars, I needed some gears and transmission products, and I was working on designs for carburation for the cars at the time.
HM Manufacturing currently produces power transmission components, and that has definitely varied over the past couple years. We used to just be known for timing belt pulleys and gears, but now we've added on with our capabilities and services. Some of our customers are Boeing, McDonald's. We make some of the components for the hamburger patties and chicken McNuggets. My team is exciting. They're vibrant, they're full of energy, they're young, and they like to innovate. The youngest is 18 and the oldest are in their mid-40s. So it's really cool to see that young, vibrant self. It's really cool. When I joined in 2009, things weren't easy. We were definitely going through a recession. It was hard times. At that time, my father came to me and said, I would really like you to join. I think you'd be a fresh new face. You'd be vibrant. I'd like to have you in sales, but I need you to go get kicked around a bit. So after I left school, I went down to Chicago, got a job at a securities firm, and after about a year, I definitely did get kicked around, thick skin, got fired. Not a surprise. I'm very opinionated. So I knocked on my dad's door at the company. I said, I think it's time, and he agreed. I'm
working in my office, and my daughter shows up and I says, what are you doing here? She says, well, I'm looking for a job. I says, here? I says, I don't know if that's going to be a good fit.
I didn't know anything about manufacturing. I was so new. So we worked from the ground up. I started in shipping and receiving. I then went on to secretarial work, kind of doing time cards, then purchasing to cost accounting, which kind of led me to all the discrepancies that were happening in the company. So I'm slowly starting to do different divisions and aspects of the company to kind of understand what's going on. And then I started to see that we were really down in the red line. Things were getting very scary. I'm losing customers left and right. I kept hearing this competitor's name pop up over and over and over again. They were beating me by pennies to $1, and I go, well, this doesn't make sense. How is this happening? I remember a customer calling me, and very vividly they would say to me that they had their quote sheet and mine, and it seems as if they have your numbers. And I remember having that gut feeling saying that this is just wrong, this is just a very bad situation. I decided to hire a private investigator. And that private investigator came back and they said, everybody that is pretty much out in your shop at this time is your competitor. Talk about a blow on every facet possible. My dad was completely heartbroken. They had been with us for many years, and he felt like they were family.
What they were doing is they would come early in the morning, use our equipment, use all of our materials, and they would sell product out from underneath me.
You definitely feel like the world is shattering. You don't really know how to take it. And of course, watching your dad's face start to just, all the blood just rushing out of him. I remember coming in that day after they were all fired, and the entire shop is dark, it's eerie, it's desolate, there's nothing going on, there's not a machine on, not even a light on. I mean, now you start to feel like, now what? I survived. We survived, which to me is the best way to put it. You just have to keep pushing, you just have to keep going. It's okay to fail, you're gonna learn from that. You just have to keep pushing forward. And I ride horses, so I have been bucked, thrown off, I have fallen on the floor plenty of times, and you have to get back up and you have to keep going.
You have to be strong enough to get back on that horse again, because if you don't, then the horse knows that he's got the power.
We are still a very close-knit family business, and I have an open door policy, so whenever they have issues or questions or something's going on, I let them come on in. We have grown quite a lot. We used to just be known for timing belt pulleys and gears, but now we've added on with our capabilities and services to offer prototyping, gearboxes, assembly, shafts. We went from $80,000 in sales and bankruptcy to about $3.5–4 million is what we're scheduled to do this year.
There's something different every day. For us, there is. I'm very happy about the future of HM. I know it'll be in great hands. It's a godsend that Nicole's doing this, but then again, I would like to play golf once a week, but that hasn't happened in, I don't know, 8 months? So.
I didn't mind getting my hands dirty because the company means a lot to us. It's our family business. We're very passionate about it, and whatever I could do to keep it afloat, I would do.
We are HM Manufacturing.
Great.
Welcome back inside to the IMTS Network. Nicole is a remarkable business leader. When the IMTS Network team first met Nicole and heard her story, they knew that was the kind of story that we want to tell to the manufacturing community, to the IMTS community, to the community in general. It's just a great story. And the story is brought to you by a crew that I'd like you to meet to start off with. You have already met a little bit of Jules, but we didn't give you all the details, and we'll give you a little bit more in a few minutes. But first, you're going to meet Jules McGuire, who is the IMTS Network executive producer. She, as I said, former IMTS TV correspondent. She's worked in the Smart Force Student Summit at IMTS, both in 2016 and 2018. She mentioned she was a former high school teacher. My script doesn't say anything about the dirt part, but you did work.
Soil, please.
Soil. Okay.
Not dirt.
You did work on films with the Discovery Channel, and you didn't mention before. Right here at AMT, you were behind the MT Connect training modules that are now a big part of MT Connect training and bringing MT Connect out into general. Now we're going to bring you some folks who are generally behind the camera. It took a lot to convince them that they have to come here, but I did use my powers of persuasion as the boss and say, okay, you're going to come on so people know who you are when you come and do the video at their place. So first we're going to meet Adam Gambrell, who is IMTS's network producer. Come on stage. Adam is a talented videographer. He's responsible for what you see. When he first was working with us, it was an intern and did the IMTS TV I Spy series, the Around Chicago series. We had to teach him how to eat in fancy restaurants, which we were able to do, fortunately for Adam and everyone else. If you haven't seen that, that's still resident out there on our YouTube channel, so you can see Adam's first ever culinary tour of Chicago. He is a graduate now from George Mason University right here locally in the DC area. He majored in media communications and is with us all the time now as the IMTS Network producer. We've got another person for you to meet here. Meet Kathy Webster. Come on, Kathy. Kathy really didn't want to come on. She's the voice of IMTS, not the speaking voice, but the voice who tells us what to say. Kathy writes the scripts and articles and pretty much anything that you think Peter wrote, probably really Kathy wrote, and Peter just read it.
Secret's out.
It's a secret's out. Her work enters your inbox once a month when you read the IMTS e-newsletter and other pieces that come from us. So she is the storyteller. She loves a good story. She has covered stories from art to autonomous vehicles and just about everything in between, and really kind of you could see the energy when we started saying, you know what, we're going to start telling human stories. We're going to start telling stories of people in manufacturing a bit more than just technical. So we are excited to bring all that to you. There's one more face who is so busy right now. And you'll meet her later, you'll see her later, but Michelle Edmondson is the Senior Director of Exhibitions, Operations and Marketing. She keeps the crew together, along with keeping everything IMTS together, and that's why we're keeping her off camera, because she's busy with IMTS right now. She's been with me, working together on IMTS for more than 2 decades, incredibly organized, probably knows more about IMTS than almost anyone, maybe even me, because I'm getting a little senile. I forgot a little bit over the years, so as time goes on, we'll get there. But we're going to get moving on the rest of our broadcast day, so you two need to go back to work and get behind the camera. But We'll move on with our IMTS Network live stream day. And coming up in the next hour, you're going to see some short video snapshots of the team, get a little more in-depth of Jules, Adam, and Kathy. You're going to see a YouTube series that's called Outside the Shop, which we're debuting a unique use of manufacturing in non-traditional ways. In the premiere episode, you will visit a middle school student who uses additive printing and CAD software to design his own prosthetic leg. It's just a fascinating and a real feel-good story. And then a story that will make you feel safer flying in the winter. You'll meet two high-tech manufacturers in Wisconsin who make parts for mega-sized airport snowplows. Following that, with water, there's traction. What does that mean? I don't know. What?
I hate to say it, but you wrote that title.
I did write that title. I think I did. Yes. You'll see powerful water jets that spray at the speed of sound to cut through materials like titanium, stone, and glass. And remember, send us your manufacturing stories. Bring them to us at imts.com. Let us know what you think on social media. Use the IMTS Network.
Excellent.
So,
Awesome.
Shall we meet the team?
Yeah.
Let's meet the
roll it.
team.
Hi, I'm Jules McGuire, and I am a Senior Manager of Content Development for IMTS Exhibitions. I work to find fascinating stories about manufacturing that have some type of human component that reach into our daily lives. There's some really great, amazing things going on in manufacturing right now that nobody hears about, and I love finding those quirky stories and making them accessible to people. So we do videos and articles all about manufacturing with a human twist, a human side. So I've had an interesting career path. I'm definitely one of those people that believes you never know where you'll end up. I started off as a public school teacher, and from there I transitioned out of the classroom and developed education resources. I worked on textbooks and curriculum, and through that I got to work with the Smithsonian on some projects. After working with the Smithsonian, I also had the opportunity to work with Discovery Communications, who is in charge of the Discovery Channel and TLC and a lot of the channels that, like History Channel and stuff like that. So one of my favorite moments was I was in the middle of nowhere in Illinois in this cornfield, and we had mud up to our shins, and we had all the cameras set up, and this is when drones were first becoming a thing in film production, and we just had the greatest time preparing for this live broadcast. And it's really one of the things that made me realize how videos could actually educate. So my love of education can come together with my love of video production. I have a very active toddler, this giant toddler. He's huge for his age, and he has this bright red hair. And so we have a lot of fun, and he's keeps us very busy. He's a sweetheart. And when I'm not wrangling a toddler, I also enjoy sewing, especially in the winter when it's cold. And then I enjoy gardening in the summer. I'm Jules McGuire, and I am the Senior Manager of Content Development for Exhibitions with AMT.
My name is Adam. That's me. And this is Jules and Steve. We work for AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, and we're headed to the East Conference in Hot Springs, Arkansas to talk to some of the smartest kids you've never heard of and find out how they use manufacturing technology to change their community. This episode, you'll hear from a 7th grader who designed and 3D printed his own prosthetic leg, some 5th graders who are making handwriting accessible, and an 8th grader whose smart cane is helping the visually impaired walk with confidence. So don't click away. This is the future of manufacturing, outside the shop.
All right. Hi, we're here at East Conference. Yay!
Come on, love.
Arkansas. We're here at the convention center.
Oh, wait, I got the shot I wanted. Sorry.
And Adam's really excited about getting a shot.
Progress.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So we're really excited to head inside where the convention center is right over here. And inside there's
a bunch of kids.
There's about 3,000 kids that are all ready to talk about their East projects. And they have 10x10 booths, so we're super excited about going and seeing what they've been up to.
Their VR, their AR, their CAD, their 3D printing, maybe something else. Microcontrollers.
Microcontrollers, those are the ones. So, all right, come with us.
Let's go.
First up, let's meet Arkin, who designed and 3D printed his own prosthetic leg.
My name is Arkin Langan-Billick. I'm in 7th grade and I go to Sonora Middle School in Spring, Arkansas. Well, my project is creating my own prosthetic leg by 3D printing it. Growing up, my parents sometimes couldn't afford getting a new prosthesis every year. And so my insurance would only give me a leg every 3 years, even with the $1,000 deductible. It was starting at Sonora Elementary where Mr. Worthy, my elementary East facilitator, introduced me into 3D printing, and I just started thinking to my head that I can create my own prosthetic leg instead of having to buy another one every year. And then Mr. Worthy, he said that there's a new thing called 3D scanning. And so if I have any other old leg and use to 3D scan, so that way I can take that model and put it inside the 3D printer and print it. Mr. Ratchford, my facilitator right now, he introduced me into the 3D scanner that you just connect to an iPad. And so I just took one of my old legs and 3D scanned that and then transformed it into the Tinkercad, this one website, and then just add some adjustment to it and just created it. One problem was finding the right model that I can use. The model of the prosthetic leg, both of the East facilitators, they both introduced me to a bunch of models. And so I just took all those models and put it together and then measured the weight that I can use and just put it inside the 3D printer so that way I can print it. I was actually on the news and they actually wanted to interview me, so they were interviewing me. And a bunch of people just got inspired and tried to create what they wanted to create and solve problems in the world. And so one thing that I've been wanting to do is like at least inspire 1 or 2 kids to create their own, like something of their own that they can use every day. Next, I actually want to there's something called an athletic prosthetic leg where it has a blade and has a spring that once you run, it like bounces up to where you can, and people like a bunch of athletes and Olympic runners use it and you can swim in it too. Well, I've learned that sometimes that you would want to give up, but you just gotta push your limits and keep going. Or if you need some help, just ask for help and solve people's problem or your problem.
Next up on Outside the Shop, we have Shamaz, Savannah, and Ethan, who design grips to help make writing more accessible for their classmates.
My name is Shamaz, this is Savannah Williams, and that is Ethan Gray. Our project is 3D Handwriting Helper. We use 3D printers and websites like Tinkercad and Cura. Our project helps because we're making things for kids that are disabled and can't write. Like we had this one kid in our school, his right arm was paralyzed, so he couldn't write with that anyway. So he had to use his left arm to write and he had no control over it. And we made the armrest and the grips to help him.
So we printed a grip and we realized that it might have been too big. A teacher commented on an Instagram post saying that she'd like us to come and measure some kids' hands. So that's what we did. We went to her class and we measured the circumference of their kids' hands. And we went back to Tinkercad and we changed the length. We printed it on the 3D printer and we went back to her class and it was able to fit as well.
Just because with 3D printing you can do a lot with not very much, because it's really not that hard to 3D print.
Most of what we were printing, we thought of like showing them to the teachers. We've shown it to our occupational therapist and she said these were good.
We're still printing the grips, and that's what we're going to keep on doing. We really think that the grips is a good idea for the kindergarteners.
Well, since Savannah and I are in our last year in East at Roberts, whenever we go to middle school next year, we're going to try and start the project up there in East. And Shamaz, since she's in 4th grade, we're hoping that she'll continue the project on at Roberts, and others will help her so we can keep the project going, because we really think it's working, and if it does work, we'll see where we can expand it and maybe not just do it at Roberts.
Now, let's meet Elijah and the Smart Cane 1.0.
My name is Elisha Moore, and I am an 8th grader at Henderson Middle School in Little Rock, Arkansas. The Smart Cane 1.0 encourages the visually impaired to walk with the same confidence as a regular person would, and it has the capability of detecting different objects and obstacles. When someone's walking with it, it beeps as soon as it senses an object or obstacle. The challenges that I encountered while constructing the Smart Cane 1.0 is that first we couldn't find the right code, so we had to go about finding the right codes. Second, we didn't have the wires connected properly, so we had to correct those. And third, we couldn't find the old cell phone to have a vibrator to actually have the Smart Cane vibrate. So just in case the visually impaired person couldn't hear and they're in a loud place. Well, first I will start by the Arduino Uno board, which is basically the brain of everything. It just controls it, sends the different jobs to the different parts. The ultrasonic sensor actually is the sensor that senses the object or obstacle. The 9 volts battery is basically the power source for the Arduino to work. The buzzer makes the beeping sound. Some of the things that we're adding and going to add are we're currently adding a vibrator. What encouraged me to keep on going with the technology is that it actually beeped, which surprised me. Like, I'm actually learning about technology. I'm actually doing this. I always used to wonder as a kid, how does this work? How does this beep? How does this do this? And to actually have it beep, it just encouraged me to keep doing this, keep learning to improve the Smart Cane and actually make a Smart Cane 2.0. We're gonna make it actually have a sensor closer to the bottom, so it can sense potholes and different things that might be smaller than the ultrasonic sensor. It is very important for feedback because you don't have those same experience as the actual person you're helping. You might add something that you don't need or don't add something that you really need. Using the Arduino book and using the software made me really want to do this as a career and take it to the next level and really just do this.
My name is Adam Gambrell. I'm the exhibition's digital content manager. So my job, I'm a video producer. Every video that we do, all of the digital media that we produce, I kind of have my hand in it, whether it's video or social media, graphic design, imagery, things like that. I'm sort of involved in pretty much everything. These days, it seems like there's no end to the different types of videos that we make. I mean, whether we're doing something like this, the Meet the Team, where I'm usually behind the camera, or we're going to some manufacturing facility somewhere in the US and we're talking to them about the technology that they're using to change lives or to change industry. There's really no end to the types of videos that we make, and it keeps my job really interesting. So it means I'm doing something different almost every single day, which I love, and it's just really exciting. We're hoping to open the world's eyes to manufacturing and how influential and how really incredible all of the technology that we deal with on on a day-to-day basis, but how incredible that technology is and how impactful it is on our world economy and on the future of just the human race. It's really, wow. Can't believe I took it there. So outside of work, I'm really into music. That was one of the things I was probably the most involved in college and just in my personal life. I love to sing, I love to play piano, I love to go out to music venues. I have tons of friends in the music community, and we'll go to jazz clubs and I'll see them perform and I'll perform with them, and that's just sort of a community that I love being a part of, because there's nothing like, you know, the musician community. I'm Adam Gambrell, Exhibitions Digital Content Manager for AMT. That was terrible. I'm doing my worst. The lights, being in front of the camera is different. Not really. I like being in front of the camera.
Every year, millions of people travel by plane during the holidays, but what should be a fun experience can quickly turn into a nightmare.
Storm, of course, having a major impact on airports across the Northeast. This gives you a sense what it's like getting out of Chicago this morning. This flight delayed 12 hours, the rest canceled, canceled, canceled.
This is the line of travelers right now working to get through security. This long line is because of all of those delays and cancellations from that big winter storm that moved through the Midwest.
Airports have to act quickly to make sure flight delays don't back up. They turn to big snowplows and the people that make them to clear the snow. Welcome to Chilton, Wisconsin, where some of the largest snowplows in the world are built by MB. These behemoths are a feat of engineering and modern technology.
My name is Russell Thiel. I'm the Purchasing and Inventory Control Manager here at MB Companies at the Airport Maintenance Products in Chilton, Wisconsin. We build product that cleans snow and debris off the runways. We produce several different models of runway cleaning equipment, ranging from MB1s, which are just a truck-mounted chassis, to a MB2, which is a broom and plow combination, MB3, which is a front-mounted broom and snowblowers, two different models of the snowblowers, and MB5, which is a multitasking unit. Equipment and reliability is a big factor at the airports. They need this piece of equipment to operate round the clock and don't fail, so they can keep the runways open for the airliners. You may not know this, but airplanes need a certain level of friction in order to land the airplane safely. We're capable of clearing off the runway completely down to the bare surface, so that there's a good friction surface on the runway for the airplanes to land safely.
In order to make sure these complicated machines don't break down on the job, MB maintains high-quality work from the design to the finished product.
The product you see behind me is manufactured here at Chilton. We do all of our design work in-house from start to finish, just like we build the trucks all the way from the ground up.
A lot more technology involved with removing snow than the average person would expect. We have an auto pattern system, so as the bristles wear away as you're sweeping, there's a timer that will lower the bristles so that you maintain perfect contact with the surface.
To build a product this complicated takes a supply chain that can deliver product on time at a fair price and is of good quality. Companies like JTD, who supply some major pieces of our product in the final assembly, are capable of producing that quality and to our schedules.
JTD Enterprises is a machine shop run by Tom and Julie Hoban. MB relies heavily on them to produce parts for their snowplows.
MB is set up pretty much from start to finish, from engineering to machining, and they can't be good at everything, and they can't invest that kind of money into equipment to do all of their processes that they need made. So they find a shop like us that are able to basically complement their workforce and their engineering and to do stuff that they can't handle in-house.
They supply us with integral parts of our equipment here, gearboxes, axles, linkages to the broom head, snowblowers, and they do a very, very good job of meeting our schedules, our demanding schedules.
Our equipment sees very heavy snow and hard usage. It can move up to 5,000 tons of snow per hour with our brooms. We were able to put 4,000 foot-pounds of torque on the ground to move the snow.
Airport equipment needs to be very, very reliable. Our suppliers like JTD help us with that by providing a quality product to meet our building and delivery schedules.
Obviously, when it's a matter of life and death, like some parts are, whether you're on a car or whatever, the parts better be made right, or an airplane. Somebody better have put that motor together right. It kind of scares you and makes you realize how important the machining end of it is in components that are a matter of life and death. So our tolerances have to be there. If an employee does make a bad part, we want to make sure we catch it in-house, because it's very expensive at that point.
Especially if it's going to a customer who's doing production and then they have to halt their production because of a faulty part.
I think most passengers have no clue what happens outside of those windows.
Despite all the challenges in creating these machines, when it's finally completed, they take a sense of pride in what they built.
The employees create some wonderful and manufacture some beautiful parts, but sometimes never see the finality of where they end up. We contacted Russ at MB and asked him if we could come over as a little field trip and check out the final product before it went out the door. And so we were able to come over, and after he talked to them a little bit and told them about the truck that was going out, he told them that they could go look around, and it was just hilarious because the employees were so excited. They were like a kid at the candy shop, and were crawling underneath the trucks and checking it out and seeing where their parts were and pointing out what they did and how it came together, and they were pretty excited about it.
Yeah, we went to look at one of the trucks that they build, and that was really interesting to see because we didn't know where any of these parts went. And you can walk up to the truck and, holy cow, there it is.
No, I think we definitely feel some pride in making, quality components for an OEM manufacturer. We know is going to have something out there that's going to be, in this case, it's sweeping a runway to keep travelers safe to get home to their loved ones.
When I'm flying, I'm proud of the product that we make and know that it provides safe travel for not only myself, my family, other people that are on the airlines. I think we make an awesome product here that keeps America safe when they're doing their flying around the country.
So next time you fly during the winter, remember that you'll make it safely to your destination because of companies like MB and JTD that make these incredible machines.
I'm Kathy Webster, Exhibitions Content Correspondent. I love this industry because there are so many interesting people, from the people I work with to the IMTS visitors and the exhibitors. Everyone likes what they do. They love making things, and they love telling you how they make it, whether it's a smoker in a machine shop in Maine or a Mars instrument that's made in Houston, Texas. Everyone loves to talk about what they make, how they make it, the machines, the software, and I love hearing all the details, and I love reporting on them in our IMTS Insider. My husband and I have 4 kids, 3 teenagers and a 10-year-old. One of our kids is in a wheelchair and he's very physically challenged. He uses a communication device like Stephen Hawking. And about 10 years ago, we started a wheelchair action art project where everyone of all abilities, all ages can come in and work together and make collaborative art. And it's so much fun, and the kids love seeing their artwork, and everyone leaves with a couple pieces of artwork. So our family is very spirited, and I do like to have some alone time or quiet time for me. I love reading, I'm in a book club, I love to do yoga, and I love to go on long walks with my dog, Meadow. I'm Kathy Webster, Exhibitions Content Correspondent at AMT.
Hi, I'm Jules with the IMTS Network. Have you ever stopped to wonder how an everyday object is made? From the Bellagio fountain to high-speed trains, almost everything we touch is manufactured. Let's take a closer look at part of something that helps us get from A to B without much of a carbon footprint. It's something that spins around and around, something that gives us a ride to work, and something that gives kids a source of entertainment. What am I hinting at? A bike sprocket. Bill from Conti's Bike Shop recently explained why a sprocket is an essential part of the bike.
My name is Bill. I'm the store manager at Conti's Bike Shop in Falls Church. Basically, it's just a gear, and you've got one in the front, and then you connect the pedals to that, one in the back, that's on the wheel, and that's how you move the bike. There are a few different types. There's like a basic beefy single-speed sprocket. There might be, if you've got like a modern road bike with a couple in the front, they're shaped differently so that the chain can move between the small ring and the big ring. Same idea in the back, so you've got what they call a cassette, which is a cluster of sprockets, and then that allows you to shift gears. You know, modern bikes now up to 12 speeds in the back, actually. I've seen on the highest end ones, they're usually some form of like higher end alloy. It might be titanium, it might be aluminum most commonly. It's light, relatively affordable, easy to machine. So on those expensive ones, they'll try to make that as one piece as possible. And then as you go to other manufacturers, they might use a two-piece design, in which case it would be a sprocket that's then mounted to what they call a spider, which is like the arms that connect to that sprocket. Now that you've got adventure biking taking off, like packing, mountain bikes have gotten really big gear ranges, and there's a lot of experimentation. It's a good opportunity to try unconventional things.
Next, let's take a look at how bike sprockets are actually made. Of course, they can be machined a whole host of ways, but today, let's look at a really cool technology, water jet cutting, with Nate from the Omax Corporation.
Basically, the water jetting process is like an erosion process, only sped up by 1,000,000 years. With our system, what you would do is you would open up our CAD program known as Layout. And within that, you can either import a drawing using our giant library of CAD formats, or you can use our tools within Layout to draw that drawing from scratch. Basically, we have 5 major cutting qualities, where 1 is just a quick rough cut, and 5 gives you a very nice smooth surface, but it takes a bit longer. So once you have the qualities assigned to that toolpath from Layout, you take that toolpath right over to the machine and go ahead and cut away. So basically, we take water and pump it through a small hole. And in that water, we entrain garnet, like the mineral that you find on sandpaper. That gets entrained into the water stream. And such a stream can cut through things like stainless steel, titanium, aluminum, various plastics. So once the part is designed, the next step is to bring that part file over to the machine. It calculates everything out, and then you just essentially tell Make to go, and it starts cutting.
So there you go, the amazing power of water and grit cutting through metal to make a bike sprocket that helps us get from point A to point B. Our way of life could not exist without manufacturing, and manufacturing could not exist without the machines and technology that create every man-made product. I'm Jules with the IMTS Network. Thanks for joining us.
And welcome back inside the IMTS Network studio in DC area. This is the IMTS Network, and I'm still Jules McGuire.
Yeah, you are, and I'm still Peter Eelman. So you've got an idea now of the kind of content that we're producing, and this kind of is the wrap-up on our first hour. Jules, how do they get a hold of us if they have stories for us?
We would love to hear your stories on email. You can send us an email at stories@imts.com. You can also follow our brand new IMTS Network Facebook page. We barely have any viewers. Come join us, show us some love today. And then you can use hashtag IMTS Network on all social media to link in your story.
Well, let's remember that the first part of IMTS Network is IMTS. So we've decided to devote the next hour to our most favorite subject here in the exhibitions department, at least, the IMTS show itself. So Michelle Edmondson is going to join us in a few minutes, and she's going to host a panel. We're going to look a little bit back at IMTS 2018 and a whole lot forward at IMTS 2020.